all of y'all messaging me, I got you covered. Of course I'm going to be reviewing this one. Ayo review family, keep it tight. My name is Jay Morris, the review guy. I'm back again to bring you another video, and in this one I'm going to be covering the new Juice Wrld album, Death Race for Love. This is Juice Wrld's second studio-length album, the follow-up to his 2018 debut studio album, Goodbye and Good Riddance, as well as his collaboration with other rapper Future, World on Drugs. Juice Wrld is one of the rappers that are really spearheading this whole emo rap movement. I would arguably say that with Lil Peep's passing and X's unfortunate and tragic murder, I would say that he is the emo rap spearheader. I don't really need to introduce him, because if you're anyone that listens to modern music, especially rap, you've heard tracks like Lucid Dreams and All Girls Are the Same and Wasted. These earwormy emo rap bangers with good production, good beats, and Juice Wrld's flavorful approach to this style, employing more melodic vocals, doing these kind of emo-inspired, sadder, kind of raspy, throaty, strained a bit vocals. Best way I can talk about that is like Robbery on this album. Literally prime example. He sounds super strange, super emo. He could literally be a vocalist for like a 2009 emo band. I love the instrumental prowess of this track, the pianos and how melodic it is and how it contrasts to his very sad vocals and very strained vocals that are overlapping. That's another thing about this album. The vocals are made in a lot of ways that they kind of overlap, and it really does this nice, cool effect where it's just transitioning so smoothly like silk. So, for all of you that don't want to hear my in-depth review, which I hope you do, and I hope that you do stick around, it'd mean a lot, but for all of you that want to know, this is one of the best rap albums that I've heard this year. I'd be lying if I wasn't saying to myself going into this, oh god, it's 22 tracks, 72 minutes, this is gonna feel bloated. And without a doubt, Juice Wrld does run into some certain stylistic things where he'll kind of go for the same lyric or he'll try to reiterate a certain point, but it's done with so much flavor, passion, and youthful energy that it's hard not to be not only earwormy but addictive to listen to. And I did not find myself at one point, except maybe a couple tracks in this album, be like, I just want to turn this off. Like, take Empty, 4 minutes, it starts out the track listing. I love this. Oh my god, I love this track. It's probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite. I absolutely adore this track. I love the beat to this. It is super melodic, but it is super heavy, and it really gets in your ear. I have this beat stuck in my head, and Juice Wrld's chorus is so poignant. It is simplistic. Is it simplistic? Yeah, but it is super relatable, and it is super ear-piercing, and it really gets to you, and he sings it with such passion with this Juice Wrld singing. I gotta say that even since last year, he's gotten much better at singing. And that's the thing that makes Juice Wrld stand apart, in my opinion. With people like Lil Skies, which I just did a review of his album, they get a habit of just going in this monotone, mumbly voice. Same with kind of like Lil Peep, rest his soul. I mean, it's kind of like that, but the same reason Juice Wrld stands out is the same reason people like X stood out. It's just like they have this type of energy, this anger, this rage, but still this heartbrokenness and this vulnerability, and it all mixes together to create some really nice soundscapes that go shoulder to shoulder with, might I say, some really good production and some really good beats. And when you're having all of that come together, it makes some of Juice Wrld's best tracks, in my opinion. Like, despite Maze's brevity, it's still a really nice, poppy, just banging trap beat behind it. And Juice Wrld's, I love his refrain on his chorus, just like, to be continued, and it's like this really low vocal. It's a little bit lower mixed, but it sounds ominous. It sounds kind of like ethereal almost. It sounds like he's just floating over this composition, and he is flowing so well on these tracks. But Maze in particular, he just sounds like silk. It sounds like it's second nature. It sounds like so easy. And if you've seen his performances where he's like freestyled for like an hour plus, he's a really good lyricist, if not a really good flower, which he is. HEMOTIONS feels a little bit stripped back, even though it is even though it still has the melodicism, the nice beat production, and Juice Wrld's background vocals and ad-libs and stuff. It feels a little bit more low-key, a little bit more endearing and sweet, and I do dig the lyricism on this track. The way he approaches this relationship, it's pretty nice. Juice Wrld employs some higher vocals on the track fast, which comes off very well in my opinion. This instrumental is absolutely heartbreaking. The instrumental alone, it's like music speaks by itself without vocals. That's why there's so much instrumental music. I mean, my album of the year last year was an instrumental folk album. Sometimes the music alone can speak so much, and it does on this track. It sounds great. It sounds beautiful and harrowing, and Juice Wrld's performance over this, especially in the chorus and especially on those higher notes, he really delivers it like you know this is coming from a personal place and that this isn't phony and disingenuous. He really feels this way. Hear Me Calling was another single that was released in anticipation for this album, and while it is good, I do think that given the lyricism, given the beat, which is almost a little like tropical trap, I know it's not tropical, but that's basically what I'm comparing it to, it's still a little bit more of an underwhelming moment on the album considering how much of a high point the rest of these tracks had really put forward. It is a little bit more low-key, but it still has that lyricism. It does have that introspective lyricism that Juice Wrld's known for, and he still provides a good vocal performance, but there's nothing about this track that's really blowing me away. I love how bassy the beat on Big is. It's an amazing track, and I love the references he makes to like Lil Pump and Gucci Mane. Some really funny lyrics on this track. One of the kind of more moments of like levity to the situation on this album, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I wish there were more tracks like this where Juice Wrld went in more of a kind of sometimes half comedical, half serious with a nice beat. This is what Juice Wrld is good for. I mean, he provides a really nice performance on this track, and once again, I love the chorus. He nails a lot of the choruses on this album. They usually are very simplistic, but they do have some punching lyricism that really cuts deep, but at the same time, if not, then they settle for being infectious and they settle for being catchy. Already talked about Robbery. I absolutely adore this track. It is like an emo banger. He comes at this with such throaty singing, such raspy singing and strained singing that works so well on this melodic piano beat. Like I said, it's a really nice track. I loved it ever since it came out. Flaws and Sins, I do enjoy the beat. It's one of the best beats on the album, and Juice Wrld comes through with some nice flow, some nice layered vocals, ad-libs all over this. Do love the ad-libs that Juice Wrld comes through with on this album, but there are some strangely manipulative lyrics on this track. Like if you listen to the words, it's a very manipulative track in my opinion, but I'll give it a pass for how much of a good track it is. On God featuring Young Thug is an amazing collaboration. They have some great chemistry. This feels like more of a kind of simplistic, stripped back trap beat. There's nothing going on in the composition that's going to blow you away, but Juice Wrld and Young Thug jump on it. I wish Young Thug was actually on more of the track, but they jump on it and they absolutely destroy it with some powerful lyricism, some great flow, especially Young Thug. Very impressed by his performance. Ring Ring is a really good collaboration with Clever as well. It's a little bit short. I wish it was longer, but Clever comes through with these kind of more emo, just shouty vocals, and they also apply some radio effects to Juice Wrld's vocals, and there's some interesting sound play being done on this track, some reverb on Clever's vocals when he's reaching those notes, and I do enjoy the track. Wish it was longer. It is somewhat a little bit forgettable, and in comparison to the Young Thug collaboration, I kind of wish it would have been a little bit more, a little bit longer maybe. The Bee's Knees, over 5 minutes. He nails this track. Juice Wrld nails this track. I was a little bit worried going into it. I was a little bit weary, but he absolutely sticks the landing perfectly. There's so much weird beat things happening in this track. The way it's fading away and the way it's turning into this just like somewhat cacophonous but beautiful beat, and Juice Wrld is just layering vocals, and he sounds beautiful on this track and broken but still whole. And that's not really me just saying that. This album, he seems to come off as a little bit of a contrast, a little bit of a contradiction of himself, but he knows where he stands a lot of times, and he doesn't like himself for it, but at times he does like himself for it, and he just thanks God for it, and there's so much going on with this track listing in terms of contrast. Make Believe ends out the track list with a flurry. It's 2 minutes and 22 seconds, but Juice Wrld's vocals in this chorus are amazing. I love these kind of overblown emo choruses that he comes through with. His flows are vicious and visceral. He seems a little bit more like he's ravenous on this track, and he's just going for it. Love the chopped up guitars that layer themselves, like litter themselves across this trap beat. It's really good in my opinion and adds a little bit more dimension. I love these beats that add that guitar into the rap, and it makes even more sense with the emo semblance. Yeah, very impressed by this. There are a couple low points, and in the middle of the track listing there can be some weak points, some tracks I didn't talk about because there's just so many. But there are some weaker points in the middle section, but there are some strong points in the middle section, and overall I'm very impressed by this album. I enjoyed it a lot. It's one of my favorite rap albums that I've heard this year by far. Very good project. Very proud of Juice Wrld. I can easily say this is Juice Wrld's best project. I'm going to be giving this album an 8 out of 10, and that's a wrap. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you've heard Juice Wrld's album, you can let me know in the comment section below what you thought of it. Like, comment, subscribe. It really does help me out a lot, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. Anyways, guys, I'm signing off. My name is Jay Morse, Review Guy. Have a wonderful day. Peace. Farewell.